G'day, here's my practice routine that I'm getting back into after a month away on tour. I'm going to start with a warm up and work my way through the C major scale and fret memorization. I want to try and do this on a more regular basis. I'm pretty bad at practice, to be honest. And I'm trying to establish some new routines and habits coming back home, and it's taken me a little bit to get back into sort of home life. So one thing for me that I can do is practice guitar, try and improve just a little bit every day, and here's my full unedited process of what goes into my practice. At least things that I feel like I should do every day to keep on top of, keep fresh. So the first one is a finger warm-up exercise. I got my metronome at about 100 beats per minute. You can do it without a metronome, but for me, I just need to really practice with a metronome. I didn't like it when I was younger, and now it's kind of like, it's there. Just ticking away. You jump in with it, you jump out with it. So, first thing I want to do, it's a very, I think it's a survival kind of exercise when you first start off. We're going to do hammer-ons and pull-offs for a minute straight. And I like to have distortion. I don't have enough distortion, but it should be enough. And we're just going to hammer on, pull off with our middle finger, then our ring finger, then our pinky finger, and then we're going to anchor the middle finger to the ring finger, pinky finger. Then we're going to anchor the ring finger and do the pinky. So I think it's 6 in total. 5 or 6. It's about 5-6 minutes exercise. And literally goes like this. So I've got a timer going on, 1 minute. This kind of helps with strengthening the fingers. Makes hammer-ons and pull-offs a lot easier. Right, that's a minute up. Move on to the next finger. Oh. So this is number 3. We're trying to keep it going. If I'd like move or do anything, I always want to try and keep the left hand going. So like, the less I can have to focus on what the left hand is doing, the better it is. Ooh, halfway. That last one gets a little sore in the end. It's been a while. There's a little bit of a breather with the middle and ring. But the next two after this are killer. This minute went over too quickly. Alright, middle and pinky. It's really a close tie between this one and the next one for the like terms of difficulty and uncomfort. $20 seconds down. Well, 20 seconds to go. Oh man. Slight break between the two. And then you go. They're barely going to make any noise when you hammer on and pull off. But it's the effort that counts. I'm in so much discomfort right now. Gotta keep on the beat. I like doing that workout first because to me it's the like toughest workout to do in terms of guitar. I feel like it warms up the fingers quite well for the rest of the exercises. And while there might be technically difficult pieces that I'll be working on, I don't think anything gets quite as like. I don't want to discourage by saying painful because it's not like painful, but there is like working a muscle when you go into the gym is what it feels like. You know, when you're pushing the heavy weights at the end of like a set or whatever, you put on the heaviest plates, and that ending there is just like tough, but it's good. It's good. I haven't done it in a while, but I know that when I was doing it consistently, the fingers were getting nice and strong. Made the rest of my playing a little bit more easier. Okay, what's the next one I used to do from there? I used to do one with strings. And like, it was a good exercise, but it's not the exercise I want to do for this today. I feel like it takes a while to get through, and I'm just not interested in doing this exercise for too long. I'm talking too long about it now. It's about half the amount of time it takes this exercise. But I'm going to pick up on a couple. So one is singles. And the trick is to not look at the strings. I'm trying to do this by feel. I'm going to go 2. 3. 5, and I like to think of hippopotamus when I do this one. Hippopotamus, hippopotamus, hippopotamus. Now I'm going to go 7, hippopotamus, nightmare. Hippopotamus, nightmare, hippopotamus, nightmare. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, I used to do 4s, 6s, and 8s, but they're pretty. They're pretty much just like if you're doing 2, you just do 2 times, 3 times, whatever. I really wanted to work on the like jumping between like the next string being starting with a downstroke or starting with an upstroke. And then just knowing where the strings are to pluck without looking. Cool. Now I'll do a string skipping one. I always feel like I suck at that one, but it's done now. I think you're going to go away for now. Now that I've turned it off, I don't want it back on. Double stops. Messy, but we got through it. Trying to remember what my other workout routines are. There's this one. Well, I'm going to have to edit that part out. Jeez. Oh, I feel like I've ruined this whole take. Oh boy. I think I said I was going to edit that out, but I think I also said at the start of the video that I was going to keep this, unedited. And yep, I'm fighting an annoying cold. But that was sort of chromatic styled. Exercise up and down the neck, just going from really wide frets to really narrow frets and going backwards, which took me a very, very long. It took me some time to get used to going backwards. Going up, real easy. Going back, a little difficult. More challenging, but not impossible. Anyway, this is a great way to recover from being sick. Practicing guitar. What fun. Right. I'm going to call that warm-ups finished. That's part 1 done. Here comes part 2. Normally, I would go through the C major scale. Man, it's going to be so interesting listening to my voice back on this video, because this is not how I normally sound. I am struggling today with the voice. So sick. But hey. Maybe I should title this "What to Practice on the Guitar When You're Sick." Very clickbaity. I'm just doing my normal practice. I'm just dying at the same time. Right. So normally I would go through the C major scale. I'd play it as a closed position on the E, A, D, and G string. And then I would play the C major scale on each string from the first fret up to 12th. Yeah. I'd go from first fret to 12th fret and back. And I'd do that on each string. It's tedious. It's something that I need to be consistently doing for almost the rest of my, guitar playing life. Having the finger touch each note that's available in the key that I'm working on that day feels important. Feels like, like I'm connecting more with the guitar. Normally I'd do that first, and then I'd do fret memorization. But today I'm going to do the fret memorization exercise first, and then we'll go through the major scale that we choose second. So, Fret memorization. This is a 5-minute exercise. I think it's... can't remember the guy's name on YouTube, but he's got this exercise for fret memorization. And what we're going to do is we're going to play from the notes of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it's the G... Sorry. It's a C major scale. We're just starting on A. So we go through the alphabet. There's no accidentals, no sharps, no flats. It's all just natural notes. And we're going to find that note that we choose for each string. So we're going to find, so if we say A, for example, we're going to find 6 A's from the 1st fret to the 12th fret. We're going to find an A on the E string, on the A string, on the D string, on the G string, and then on the E string. So we found where we can play an A between 1st fret and 12th fret. 13th fret onwards, it's just the same as that 1st fret. Up to, I think it's about the 7th fret is what I've got. No, 4. 9th fret. And that's why we've got the dots on the guitars. So, you know, if we can find an A on the 5th fret of the low E string, it's going to be the 2nd dot after our double dot 12th fret indicator. So we're going to find them on each of the 6 strings. And we're going to do that 3 times in total before we move to the next note. B, C, D, E, F, and then eventually G. Once we get to G, our goal is to try and do that all again a 2nd time. And we're trying to get that done within a 5-minute timer. So there's no metronome, nothing like that. It's just take your time. But if you run out of time, don't move on to the next part of this exercise that he has on his video. And I've kind of been stuck at this first one for a while. I struggle with the pressure sometimes. But it has been a very long time, and I'm not expecting myself to get it this time around. So I'm going to start. I always tell myself if I can't nail the 2 runs through this exercise perfectly, I couldn't move on. I think I need to work on that. But hey, here's the first time back. 5 minutes starting now. I'm going to begin with A. Reset. Oh man. One more. Ooh. I got my times wrong here. Okay. 10 seconds slow to the timer. A lot of mistakes. A lot of remembering where the fingers go. But once they kind of knew where they were, they could fly a little bit. So I'm actually kind of happy with that. For the first time back. I'm hoping it's like riding a bicycle where, you know, you can just jump back on and a bit wobbly at the start and then it gets a bit easier, quicker. Right. I'm going to do my next exercise, which is the C major. That is, what I normally do is I take the circle of fifths and I pick one of the keys to work on. And usually up the top, C major. No sharps, no flats. All natural notes. So, I'm going to show you what I mean by closed position. There may be another name for it. I don't know, but this is what I've got. We're going to start on the low E string. On the 10th fret. On the 8th fret, sorry. 8th fret of the low E string. Now, we're going to assign our fingers to play a certain fret for each of the strings, really. So when we're in this position, and I want to call it the E string C major position, because we start on the E string, and I want you to start on that 8th fret with your middle finger. And anytime we have a note in this scale that pops up on the 8th fret, we're going to use our middle finger. If it's on the 9th fret, we're going to use our ring finger. 10th fret, we're going to use our pinky. And 7th fret, we'll use our index. So, to start the C major scale, we're going to play the 8th fret of the E string, which is C. The next note in the C major scale is D. And that's going to be on the 10th fret. 8, 10. Then we've got E, on the 7th fret of the A string, F on the 8th fret of the A string, G, 10th fret of the A string, A on the 7th fret of the D string, B on the 9th, C on the 10th. So we go 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. We're going to go backwards like that as well. What I like to do is I like to go up and down. I'll do that once. And that's the C major scale in the closed position on the low E string. Now, that pattern that we do with our fingers, where we're using middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky, we can use that same pattern to play the C major scale on the A string. Rather than starting at the 8th fret of the E string, we're going to play on the 3rd fret of the A string. 3rd fret of the A string is also a C. So you can see where we're going with this. We're going to play the C major scale now, starting from A. And it's now going to be 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. So that, your fingers are doing the exact same movements as if we were up on the E string. So all we've had to learn is this finger pattern, and the fact that if we want to play it on the A string, it's the exact same, but we start from the 3rd fret of the A string. For the D string, we're going to go with the 10th fret. That's C. An easy way to work that out is, well, D. The D string is going to be a D at 12. And C is 2 frets below that, below the D. So we go 1, 2, we find C. Another little trick is, if we know where C is on the low E string, we can go up 2 strings, A to D, and across 2 frets, and up 2 frets, to C. Those two are the same notes, just an octave apart. Now, when we play C major from the D string, we have 10, 12, middle, pinky, 9, 10, 12, index, middle, and pinky. Once we move on to the G string to play the last 3 notes of the C major scale from the D string, we're going to use our index, ring, and pinky like we have before. But rather than 9, 11, 12, we're going to shift that pattern up 1 fret. So instead of 9, 11, 12, which doesn't sound right, we're going to do 10, 12, 13. So it's the same. It's still the same. Our fingers are doing middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky. It's just that index, ring, pinky needs to slide up 1 fret. Sliding up 1 fret. And we come back down. So, for learning the C major closed position scale on the D string, all we had to keep in mind is that we play the first 6 notes the is with the same sort of pattern as A and C. And we still have the same pattern happening with our fingers, but we just have to go up one fret. Right. When we come to the G string, because the B string is just I'm gonna scratch that part. I don't wanna talk about the B string right now. I'm just gonna show you the G string. So for the G string, we're gonna find C on the 5th fret. Now, an easy way to find this C is we find the C on the A string, which is the 3rd fret. And if we go up 2 strings, D to G, and up 2 frets, 4, 5, we get C. Now, I personally change the finger pattern now for G. And what it is it's index finger 5th fret with the G string, ring finger 7th fret, and then it's going to be index finger on the 5th fret with the B string, and then we have the same finger pattern again where we go 6th fret on the B string, 8th fret with our pinky, the B string, index 5th fret of the high E, ring finger on the 7th fret of the high E, then our pinky on the 8th fret. For me, it's just I can leave my index finger barred across those 3 strings. And a lot of the time, I might be holding a minor chord. So I like to practice having... That's messy. But I like to practice having my index finger bar across those 3 strings when I'm playing the major scale from the G string. I could, do ring. I could do middle, pinky, and then switch like I do with the B string. That's entirely possible. I personally find this way a lot more comfortable. I'm definitely doing a lot of these kind of licks. Anyway, I'm noodling now. I feel like I probably didn't explain that to the best of my ability. But yeah, basically, we've done the fret memory. We've done C major scale in the closed position. We found 4 different places we can play that C major scale on this guitar. There's more ways we can connect them together as well. We can also use 3 notes per string instead to play that scale. So rather than, I could go. And that one we can really expand across the neck. So we can kind of connect the 2 together. It's just like if someone goes, hey, if you're jamming in a band, someone's like, throw me a C major scale. Anyway, I'm rambling on now, so have a good day. See you next time.